You know, in the world of Scrum, there's this persistent myth about what a developer actually does. Well, today, we're going to bust that myth wide open. We're going to explore what it really means to be a developer on a truly high-performing Scrum team.
So, let me just start by asking you a question. When you hear the term Scrum Developer, what's the very first image that pops into your head? Go on, take a second. Picture it.
I'm willing to bet for a lot of you, it's this. Someone with headphones on, totally zoned in on a screen, just cranking out code. A programmer, a coder, an engineer. But is that the whole story? Oh, not even close.
And that's exactly why we're going to start here, by looking way beyond the keyboard, to really unpack the true multifaceted responsibilities of a developer in Scrum.
This really gets to the heart of it. The myth is that a developer is just this lone coder, a ticket taker, just executing programming tasks one after another. But the reality? It's so much bigger. A Scrum developer is a cross-functional professional who literally owns the entire creation process. And that isn't just a small tweak in job description. It is a fundamental shift in mindset.
So what does that ownership actually look like day to day? Well, it's a whole toolbox of skills. I mean, yes, of course, coding is front and center, but so is testing, so is making key architecture decisions, building out automation, defining what quality even means, and, just good old-fashioned problem solving. They're involved in every single step.
And all those different skills, they're all pointed at one primary goal: creating a high-quality, usable increment every single sprint. Think of the increment as that concrete, tangible piece of the product you can actually see and use. And here's the key. It is the collective responsibility of all the developers to build it together.
Okay, so this idea of collective responsibility brings us right to our next crucial point: refinement. A lot of people see this as a boring planning exercise, but it's really a team sport, and developers are absolutely the star players.
And here's another myth we really need to bust. So many teams operate as if backlog refinement is a solo mission for the product owner, who then just sort of hands the work down to the developers. That is a huge misunderstanding of how Scrum is supposed to work.
The reality is that refinement isn't some big, formal meeting you have to schedule once a week. No, it's a continuous, ongoing activity. It's about breaking down and clarifying work, and it can happen anytime. Developer input is absolutely essential here. I mean, come on, they're the ones who are going to have to build the thing.
So why is their input so vital? Well, look at the goals here. You're trying to break down big items, clarify what done actually looks like, and spot technical risks or dependencies. How can you possibly do that effectively without the people who have the technical expertise right there in the conversation? You just can't.
And Scrum is super clear about this. It's an open invitation. The whole team can be there. You can pull in testers, architects, designers, heck, anyone who can add value and help make the work clearer. It's all about getting the right brains together to set the next sprint up for success.
This collaborative spirit leads to a really practical mindset, which is what we're going to talk about next. This idea of keeping documents lean, but being really loud about blockers.
In Scrum, the goal is not to create a massive library of documents that nobody ever reads. The whole philosophy is to be lean but useful. You document only what is truly needed to maintain quality and keep things transparent for everybody. No more, no less.
So what does that look like in the real world? It means that things like formal user stories or super detailed acceptance criteria, they aren't mandatory Scrum artifacts. They only become required if your team decides that they're a necessary part of your definition of done. It's your team's standard that matters, period.
This practical approach also applies to problem solving, right? A lean process is great, but it totally relies on people speaking up fast when they hit a roadblock. So what's a developer's responsibility when they're totally blocked?
The process here is simple, but it is absolutely critical. If you're a developer and you hit a problem that is outside of your control, you don't wait, you don't struggle in silence for days, you escalate it to the Scrum Master immediately. That's how you keep the whole team's progress flowing.
So when we start to put all these pieces together, we see this image of the developer completely transform. It's not about a coder at a keyboard anymore. It's about someone who is truly empowered.
The empowered Scrum developer isn't just a coder. They are a cross-functional pro who actively owns refinement. They are a practical documenter and a proactive problem solver. And most importantly, they are a collective owner of the product's quality, standing shoulder to shoulder with the rest of their team.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Whether you're a developer yourself or you work with them, how will you help expand that role beyond just writing code?